Hey, another video in Kev's Corner. Today, I'm reading a thank you card, but unlike all of them that we get from our owners and our tenants, we have hundreds of them. This one actually was handwritten, and it came from one of my agents. And I keep it here on my desk as kind of a reminder of what she said. And you know, Douglas Realty has evolved over the last 35 years, and sometimes sitting here in the same seat and doing this every day, I lose sight of just how good we are and what we've discovered over the last 35 years. I think we've made every mistake possible during that time, corrected everything, and gotten better and better every day. To now, I don't know how we get better from right here, but let me tell you something that happened recently. I was here, as many of you know, I was being interviewed by an outside company, Landlord Advocates, and I was nervous. They were like 60 minutes. They had a camera crew, and they came in and really grilled me. But I noticed during the interview that the tide was kind of turning, and these guys were really impressed, really liked what they saw. And then I got to thinking, what makes us so different? And then it dawned on me, you know what? I know what makes us different. We're compartmentalized. That's probably our secret ingredient, something that kind of by accident we discovered over the last 35 years of doing this. And what do we mean by that? Well, I'm going to take you for a quick tour around the office and kind of explain as we go. But here's what happens, and you may have been stuck in this rut before. You know, you start off as a small management company and you've got a handful of units out there that you're taking care of and you're doing a good job. But this always happens, one of two things. Either the company can't grow and you end up putting yourself out of business because there's just not enough business, or you get better at what you're doing and pretty soon the volume increases to a point that your service suffers. Think about it, it's a natural progression. If you have 5 or 10 units, you can go out and collect the rent, you can screen the tenants, you can post notices, you can do the maintenance, you can screen the tenants, you can call the owners, you can schedule the reports, you can make sure the maintenance is done. Easy when you have 10 or 15 properties, but there's a magic number of cutting off point where service starts to really suffer. And a lot of folks that come and join us are somewhere in that mode with a company that, not tiny, but they're not big enough to be compartmentalized, and they're trying to do it with 1 or 2 people. And you're probably starting to notice over the last year or two that the service you're getting from them is rapidly declining. Phone calls are taking longer to be returned. The accuracy of your statements going downhill. The quality of your tenants is starting to suffer. A multitude of things, and it's not a fault of them really, except they don't realize the dynamics that they've created. Now, what we did is the old adage: build it, and they will come. And that dawned on me many years ago that, you know what? Let's build it, and then bring you guys on board and do it the right way. So there's no change in service, there's no suffering for an owner. So by being compartmentalized, we can accomplish that. And I think that's one thing that really sunk in with Landlord Advocates, that put that big smile on their face and made them want to give us our, accredited rating, which was quite an honor. But I equate us to McDonald's. We're not as big as McDonald's, obviously. We're not in every city and every state and every county, but you know what? We are big, but we're good. And just like McDonald's, we use the exact same concept. When you go to McDonald's, somebody doesn't walk up and take your order, then take your money, then run back to the fryer and drop the fries in, then run over to the grill and cook your food, then go and get a bag, go to the fryer, go to the grill, put it in the bag, run up. Think of that. It's the same. One person takes your order, takes your money, somebody's at the fryer, somebody's at the grill, it all comes together, boom, you get your food. You can even go through a drive-through and it all works flawlessly. Same concept here at Douglas Realty. So even though it's after 4 o'clock on a Friday, let's take a walk around. I want to kind of show you who's out here and how this works, how the compartmentalization works. So if you can follow me with that giant camera, we'll see what's going on here today. So come on now. You'll notice too as we walk around, and a lot of you have seen the office already and other Kev's Corners, other videos. This is not a typical property management office. Look at it. It's beautiful. It looks like you're walking into a giant law firm or a bank, or obviously it's a successful company that's well funded, but certainly well thought out. Now, this is our receptionist area. This happens to be Vanessa. So say hi, Vanessa. Surprise, you're on film.
Hi.
But Vanessa's a key player, and we have a Vanessa in each office. Now, I don't know if they're as good as Vanessa is, but in each office we have somebody that's answering the phone and directing the calls. Very, very important. So when you call in, you're not going to a switchboard, you're not talking to a computer, you're talking to a human being that knows right where your call should go. You notice we have a big, beautiful conference room and another conference room over here, because when people walk in, we don't want to stick them in a little office where they're enclosed and stuck. We want them to be right out here where they can see what's going on. But let's go over here, and we'll go down this hall in a second. Now you notice these on the wall, I forgot these were up here, but this is some current training that we're working on. Our staff is constantly being trained, constantly be brought up to date, constantly working on creating, an awesome team here. We show them where they sit in the circle of knowledge. We show them, how to get their work done and avoid the stories and the tic-tacking back and forth, but getting right where they want to go. And I'm not even going to tell you what that is. You got to figure that one out. This is our assistant property manager's office, and here in the Cape office we have two. Donna, she's really tiny. Obviously Donna's not in here right now, but this is Donna's desk, and then her partner in crime, Susan. So Susan, I know how much you love being surprised on film. That's Susan. Now Susan and Donna's job is, as assistant property managers, they're going to be your best friends. What they're going to do is, anytime you have a question about a lease being ordered, a lease being renewed, rent increases, maintenance work, anything like that, Susan and Donna will pull your property right up on their computer. They'll know everything about it. They'll get to know your personality. They'll get to know what's important to you, what your sticking points are, your hot buttons, whatever. And these guys are amazing. These ladies are amazing. Now, we also have two maintenance coordinators that are both pretending to be really busy right now. This is Dominic, and hidden back here is, and when we have a medical team too, we might have to call them after that. This is Candy.
And he is also going to...
Candy and Dominic, they're also going to be your buddies. Their job is to coordinate the maintenance work on your house. Now, they don't do it. They don't have tool belts or tools or anything like that. What they do is they have a list of vetted vendors. Serious. That's hard to say, vetted vendors. But what they do is they make sure these vendors are licensed, they're insured, they're trustworthy, and they insist on a substantial discount for Douglas Realty clients. So now you got two people hard at work, getting your repairs done, getting your written approval before the work starts, getting a licensed, insured vendor out to do the work, and then following up to make sure the work is done, and only then does the vendor get paid. If the vendor goofs up and it's not done perfect the first time, Douglas Realty insists they go back and fix it for free the second time. Rarely happens. This is Gail. Gail's one of our leasing agents and acquisition agents.
Hi.
She's all the way here from England, and she has a fake accent, fake English accent, but she's an amazing addition to our team, her and Hazel. They're going to be renting your properties. Their tenant selection process is unbelievable. No evictions, no felonies. The tenants have to make 3 times the income to whatever the rent is, and they don't get to make the final decision of who moves in your property. That goes over to the assistant property managers, Donna and Susan. They're salaried. They have no skin in the game as far as trying to sneak a bad tenant in. As a matter of fact, they've got to work with your tenant all year, so they make sure only good quality tenants that are going to pay the rent get put into your property. We found Vanessa again, making copies, and we have a physical file for every owner too, 700 or 800 of them, some with multiple properties, but obviously almost everything we have is, everything we do have is backed up on the computer. The reason we have physical files is right now, for example, the internet's down. Phones are working, you call in, we can't get on the internet right now. The whole area is down because of these summer storms. We can pull the information out of your file. Just another check and balance system developed over 35 years of doing this. Notice we have 2 coffee pots. We got to keep everybody right on edge. I'm high energy. I drive everybody in here crazy. Now we're going to go past the accounting office. We're not going to bother Susan, but Susan's in there counting beans or whatever they do in the accounting office. But in all seriousness, what Susan's doing is she's making sure our owners get paid on time, that our vendors get paid, that rents are collected, that rent checks have cleared. She does an amazing job. She's spot on 100% of the time for us. Susan's also responsible for paying the bills in the office, paying the commission, so every once in a while somebody slides some candy or a piece of cake under the door because we got to stay on her good side. This is a marketing office. We have a gentleman that comes in, helps with our marketing. He's an outside vendor, very creative in what he does, and in fact helped a lot with Kev's Corner and other stuff on our website. Great guy. This is another one of the sales offices, Angelica. Angelica today is up in our Port Charlotte office, and that's about 40 minutes north of here. So we really have this whole West Coast covered. Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, Northport, Vanessa's everywhere. Down here to North Cape Coral, over to Fort Myers, and then in Lehigh Acres is another office on the west edge of Lehigh. So if you think about it, we have Fort Myers, Lehigh, Cape Coral, North Cape Coral, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Northport. At all those locations, we have an office. Our desk is 30 minutes max from your property. And that's really important too. When you select a management company, if they don't have a physical office where your property is, how can they possibly service it? I mean, sometimes owners call and they have a property in Lehigh and their management company is an hour and a half away in Bonita. It doesn't make any sense to me. So that was a quick whirlwind tour, but at least you kind of get the concept of being compartmentalized. All right, now that we've completed the whirlwind tour, back to where Kev's Corner starts, I want to point out the obvious. Everything you just saw is property management, isn't it? Everybody's focus, whatever their job is 100% property management. Now, I have to point out the obvious, I really do, because a lot of companies, this is an afterthought, property management. We do sales, we do new construction, we do remodeling, and we do property management. Even though we're full service, we do have salespeople, our focus is on property management. And that should be really crystal clear. That's all these folks are working on. So welcome on board. If you haven't made a decision yet, come on board. You're gonna love us. One way or another, you're gonna end up right here at Douglas Realty Property Management.